Hey everybody, welcome back. We're actually bringing you something that's not a comic review this time. Both of us over the weekend got a chance to go see Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And let's just get right into it. Mr. Komer, what'd you think?
Based on the book by Seth Grahame-Smith, and by the way, I'm David Komer.
I'm Dave Herndon.
And we're just going to break it down. And I have to be honest, I completely fell in love with that movie. I loved it. I thought it was great. I have to give it an A. It was awesome, and I just had so much fun. I think that's the biggest thing. It was fun, but yet it was serious. It pretty much hit every note right, kind of with a revision of history, if you will.
I'm giving it an A minus if we're giving it a ratings on those scales. Again, I have a lot of the similar opinions to you. I do wish the movie was maybe 10 to 15 minutes longer. I wish they would have expanded out on a few more things. We'll get to that in a minute. But overall, it was amazing. The cast was great. I don't even remember the guy that played Lincoln. And that's perfect, because I don't want to remember the actor. I want to remember the character. And he played Lincoln almost like it was a biopic, except all of a sudden, bam, vampires. Now, I did have some problems with the vampires, but again, we'll get into that in a minute. Overall, what are some of the things you didn't like?
Well, I didn't like that it had to end. No, if I had any criticisms, to be honest, I don't have any. To be honest, I thought everything they hit all the right notes. There was nothing I wanted to see that I didn't see. In some respects, I was a little disappointed that in the jump in time a little bit, where you see him kind of up and coming in the political ranks. Next thing you know, he's a president. I mean, not that I needed to see everything, but I thought that could have been accomplished a little better in a montage to give you kind of a better transition. I would have liked to have seen that a little bit. I would have liked to have seen the actual threats against his life that were so hyped up actually come to bear a little sooner. Also, working vampires into the Civil War, wasn't too much of a fan of that, just from looking. I mean, it was good. I mean, believe me, I'm picking at nits here, because I love the thing, but just, when you see the movie and you see the trailer, you think it's mostly pre-presidency that all this happens, and that's where I thought, everything is kind of done and over with by the time he becomes president. But the fact they kind of shoehorned the vampire thing into the Civil War, it was good. I still liked it.
It worked, though. I mean,
it did, and again, I'm not hating. I'm congratulating, but I will say that I was. If I had to maybe do a few tweaks here or there, maybe that would, I'd figure out something maybe a little different. But overall, though, I thought it was awesome. Well, what did you not like?
well, for one, when he finally did get to kill his the vampire that killed his mother, I did not like that. Like, he's all like, "Okay, Mr. Lincoln, now that they know who you are, they'll be coming for you," and then that's the last of the time he fights a vampire until the finale.
Next thing you know, he's a president. Everything went swimmingly, and he's like a man of 50-something years old.
He puts his axe in his chest and locks it up and says, "I'm going to fight another way," and that's the end of that. Another thing I didn't like is I didn't like how they allowed the vampires to be out during the day. They're just like, "Oh, vampires can adapt to daylight," and that's all they ever said about it. And then all of a sudden, you can't tell who's a vampire and who's not, because they can all just wander around during the day. They're not pale. They're just regular people out and about.
I disagree. They are pale, and they also, they're a little affected by light. They're wearing sunglasses, but I do not have a problem with it. You can do whatever you want. You're already seeing history rewritten. It's not that much to take an extra leap and play with the mythos of a made-up thing to begin with.
Okay, so next time a werewolf can just be a big dog.
Fine. I hold nothing sacred when it comes to reimagining of creatures that don't exist.
I'm just saying, if you're going to use a vampire, you should use vampires the way they've been traditionally used, in terms of the mythos of there's just certain tent poles you shouldn't change, and being outside is one of them.
I don't care. I really don't.
I mean, how much farther you got to go before you get to Twilight? With you're like, oh, well, they can go outside. They just have to sparkle.
That's fine. I don't care. That's for 13-year-old girls. sleeping with pictures of Taylor Lautner under their pillow. It doesn't matter to me. You can do whatever you want.
And again,
if you're doing fan fiction, do it.
And
if
again,
you're writing a novel, do it.
This is, you know, we should have said it right up front, but this is obviously a spoiler-filled review. The next, his friend, and I'm sorry I don't remember the name, but the guy that trained him.
Not a big reveal. You kind of saw that coming a mile away, right?
I did. It was not a big reveal that, oh, he's a vampire. But shouldn't Lincoln have figured that out on his own? I mean, how do you not know? You've been trained what a vampire is, and you don't figure it out when it's your best friend?
Mm-hmm. Right. One thing I was wondering, and is that I wanted to know why there weren't more. Okay, let's just say if I'm a vampire and I can turn invisible whenever I want, couldn't someone have just infiltrated the White House and slit his throat while he was sleeping? Again, not a big problem with it. I mean, it's
well, and even
but they didn't really, I think, use the invisibility aspect to
not much, just
full potential, which is fine because I understand you can write yourself into a corner.
You want to be able to see the actors. It's a movie.
Right, and they did use it in some pretty cool instances during some action scenes.
But even like when they're sneaking in to kill his son into the White House, they didn't use the invisibility trick. She dressed up as a maid and just wandered in.
Right.
Which that I would have thought if you're going to sneak into what even at the time should have been one of the more secure places in the country, you're not going to just throw on a maid's costume when you can turn invisible. Right.
Well, maybe that's something that got cut from the movie. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it's in the book. Yeah. Not having read the book, we're obviously leaving. There's some gaps there. And based on the quality of the movie, would you be interested in reading the book?
I'd definitely pick it up at some point. Obviously, we're doing a lot of newer stuff right now. But I'd definitely, if I saw it in a store, I'd pick it up. I'm not against it. I might want to give myself some time to let the movie kind of go away out of my mind. So I kind of go into the book fresh, but I'd definitely read it.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Mary Todd. Pretty cool.
It was amazing.
Great casting. I really enjoy her work. Sky High is one of my biggest guilty pleasures ever. I love that movie to death, and I will fight you to death with plastic sporks if you don't like it.
Die Hard 4, I'm Dead Again.
but again, an inspired choice, and I thought she did really well.
It'd have to go into one of my favorite of her roles, right behind Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I don't know if you ever saw that one, but
not a fan. And yes, I'm weird, and you can hate me all you want. I hated that movie, but
so did the 4 people I took with me to see it.
She was good in it, but I know people that would have my head for not liking it. But that neither here nor there. Yeah, she was very good.
But overall, I again, what I'm saying is bad about this movie. It's me nitpicking again. I liked it so much.
Yeah, I loved it.
I'll definitely find more things wrong with the movie I liked than with the movie I didn't.
Now, full disclaimer, we did not see it in 3D. Don't know how much better it is or worse, per se, but I did not see a lot of gratuitous, oh, this is 3D, so we're going to throw something in your face shots, which a lot of other movies kind of fall into that trap and that trope.
I believe the 3D with this was a conversion, so they weren't shooting thinking of 3D, and that's part of the why you didn't see stuff like that. But I'm not a fan of 3D movies. I've seen a couple that worked pretty well, but overall I think it's a fad. And it's weird that it's a fad because we've had 3D movies going back 60 years.
But you're seeing technology though at a greater pace than it's been at. And so
you're right, and
it has the potential to really grow.
I'm not against 3D. I don't see it as you shouldn't shoot specifically. Oh, we're going to do it in 3D and it's going to be great, because then your movie's suffering quality otherwise.
And in many instances, you're already paying your firstborn just to get a ticket. If they can add on another $4, they're going to.
But that's a discussion for another day. But I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So, but again though, there were scenes though, like the whip in the beginning. Right in your face. There's a few of those. A lot of the action scenes on the train. Some of the vampire attacks were right in your face. Again, though, you didn't feel like it was just to do it. It really, everything worked really well in the basis of the story. I liked the way the vampires looked. I loved the way. I'm sorry. The name of the actor who played Lincoln. wow, the uncanniness of his resemblance. Obviously, when he gets older, they used a little prosthetics kind of stuff, but a really good job.
And of course, this is just the first of 3 Abraham Lincoln movies out this year.
Really?
There's a direct-to-DVD Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies movie.
I'm going to miss that on purpose.
Put out just to spoof this movie, I'm sure.
Right.
And then there's actually a biopic coming to theaters later this fall. It'd be interesting to watch the biopic and compare, like, that didn't happen in the vampire movie. Like, that's not true. In the vampire movie, she stood on his hat to kiss him. Which, by the way, one of my favorite scenes.
Nice. But I have to say, this is, for me, the breakout hit of summer. I thought it was great, and I really hope it does well at the box office.
It's definitely probably the second, maybe third best movie I've seen all summer. And I've seen a lot of movies, as you all know. I've reviewed most of them here.
Yeah, I've seen my share, but I would give it a solid A. You're saying
again,
A minus, B plus?
B plus range.